Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's just never enough? You're never thin enough, or young enough, or successful enough, or good enough? Well, my friends, today we're going to pull back the curtain on why that particular belief is not your truth and how to finally start feeling worthy right now. Stick with me because this episode might just be the turning point you've been waiting for. Welcome to How to Lose the Weight, the podcast for women ready to stop waiting for someday and live life now. I'm your host, Holly Toscanini, and I'm here to help you break free from perfectionism, self-doubt, and the someday mindset. Together, we'll dive into real conversations about self-trust, empowerment, and living authentically. If you're ready to reconnect with your intuition and step into your power, you're in the right place. Let's lose the weight and start living fully right now. Hello and welcome back to How to Lose the Weight. I'm your host, Holly Toscanini. And friends, today we're talking about one of the most exhausting, soul-sucking struggles women carry for decades. Never feeling good enough. Good enough to wear the dress. Good enough to speak up in the meeting. Good enough to pursue the thing you've been secretly wanting to pursue for years. If you've ever thought, I'll feel better about myself once I lose the weight, get the promotion, once my kids are settled, once I finally get my life together, this episode is for you. And spoiler alert, the once never comes. Not because you're not capable and not because you aren't worthy, but because the bar keeps moving and perfectionism, people-pleasing, and patriarchy feed on that never-ending chase. Today we're calling it enough already. From the time we are little girls, most of us were handed an unspoken rule book. Approval equals survival. Be the good girl and you'll get the gold stars and the hugs and the praise. Step out of line, speak up too loudly, or God forbid make someone uncomfortable, and the punishment was swift. Rejection, disapproval, or being labeled too much. So we learned early that our value came from being agreeable, polite, and palatable. And that training didn't stop once we grew up. Diet culture swooped in our teens like an unpaid internship you never signed up for, relentlessly teaching us that our bodies were projects to manage. If you weren't thin enough, you weren't disciplined enough. If you weren't wrinkle-free, you weren't attractive enough. If you weren't glowing with wellness, you weren't taking care of yourself well enough. And because women are disproportionately judged on appearance, that message burrowed deep. The Dove Global Beauty Report found that 85% of women avoid important lifestyle activities because they don't feel good enough in their bodies. Think about that. Women literally sit out of opportunities, relationships, and pursuing their dreams, not because they aren't qualified or capable, but because they don't like how they look in the mirror or in the photograph. Now let's layer on the rest of life, shall we? The expectations of motherhood, the demands of a career, and the endless caregiving of our kids, our partners, our aging parents, even in our workplace. Suddenly, you're spinning 10 plates, each with its own invisible measuring stick you'll never quite reach. The perfect mom, the tireless employee, the forever young, forever thin, forever put together woman. And this is where identity fatigue shows up. If you listen to episode 79, you'll remember I described identity fatigue as the deep soul exhaustion that comes for performing outdated roles for too long. The competent one, the fixer, the always together mother, the good girl who never ruffles feathers. We don't just play these roles. We become them. And we wear them like an armor. And after years of living this way, the armor feels welded to our skin. We forget they were costumes in the first place. Why is identity fatigue so harmful? Well, because it slowly erases the real you. And you're always the reliable one, or when you're the selfish one, your needs disappear from the equation and you end up running on empty and doubting yourself and hearing that constant whisper in the back of your mind that you're somehow falling short, that you're not quite enough. But here's the truth, my friend. That whisper isn't your intuition. That is cultural conditioning. It is the collective weight of expectations that were never yours to carry in the first place. And here's the thing. Feeling not enough doesn't just stay in your head. It bleeds into every corner of your life. When you believe you're not enough, you start shrinking. You say yes when you want to say no. You play small in meetings. You don't pitch yourself for opportunities. You hide your brilliance because you're afraid it will look like arrogance. And let's talk about relationships. If you've ever found yourself over-giving, over-explaining, or bending yourself into a pretzel just to be liked, that's not love. That's self-erasure. You're making yourself disappear so someone else can feel comfortable. Keep this in mind. This belief doesn't just cost you opportunities and joy, it costs you trust in yourself. Every time you silence your voice, every time you send yourself that message, see, you can't be trusted, your needs don't matter. And research actually backs this up. I read a study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. It found that people with lower self-worth are more likely to self-sabotage and avoid risks, even when the risk could lead to success. In other words, feeling like you're not enough keeps you locked in a loop of playing it safe and staying stuck. I want you to really hear this. Safety is not the same as fulfillment. You can spend your whole life safe, never ruffling feathers, never chasing dreams, never risking rejection, and still feel deeply dissatisfied because you've traded your own desires for other people's approval. And the longer you stay in that not enough story, the harder it gets to imagine any other way of living. Your dreams get dusty on the shelf, and your confidence gets brittle. And before you know it, you've put your life on hold, waiting for the moment you finally become enough. And here's a spoiler alert, that moment never comes. Because the truth is, you already are enough. And that's why this conversation matters. Because midlife is not the time to keep playing by rules that were never designed for your thriving. Midlife, especially for women, is the moment you get to rewrite the script. You get to reclaim your self-trust and decide that enough is not a goal. It's just your starting point. Now, I want to go over 5 intuitive but practical exercises you can use right now to begin rewriting the script for yourself. Get your pen, get your journal, and let's go through them. The first one is to call out the lie. Every time that old not enough tape starts playing, name it for what it is. That's diet culture talking. That's patriarchy talking. That's the good girl script talking. Labeling it creates distance. It's no longer your truth. It's a lie you've inherited. And once you see it, you can choose not to play along. Number 2, practice grounding and centering. So before you say yes to something that you may not want to do, before you beat yourself up for skipping a workout, pause. Get grounded. Feel your feet, put them on the floor, and take a breath. Anchor yourself and your body in this present moment. And then get centered. I want you to drop your attention into your heart or into your gut and really reconnect with your inner compass. When you're centered, your choices stop coming from fear or obligation and start reflecting you and who you really are. Number 3, write a permission slip. And I've got one you can download on my website. Yes, literally, grab a Post-it or my download and write, I give myself permission to be good enough right now. Stick it on your mirror, stick it on your fridge, put it on the laptop. Because here's the deal, your brain rewires through repetition and visual cues. Every time you see it, you're rewriting the pattern that says you need to earn your worth. Number 4, you've got to celebrate those micro moments. Think you need a big dramatic transformation to feel good enough? Nope. Confidence is built in tiny, repeated moments of alignment. Saying no without apology, resting without feeling guilty, wearing the outfit you love instead of the one you think you should wear. Each and every small win is proof that you are already enough. And when you stack all those little wins together, they create a foundation of unshakable self-trust and confidence. And number 5, you got to anchor all of this in your intuition, because at the end of the day, enoughness isn't about proving. It's about trusting. Your intuition will whisper, "This is enough." Even when the world screams, "Do more, be more." And that whisper, that's the truth. That's the voice worth listening to. All right, now I'm going to share 3 practical ways to reclaim your good enough. Let's talk about the 3 ways we can really start shifting into this feeling enoughness right now. First, you got to redefine success on your terms. So much of the not enoughness comes from playing by somebody else's rule books. Diet culture says smaller is better. Corporate culture says busier is better. And social media says younger is better. If I see one more woman over 50 who has accomplished so much in her life being celebrated only because she can rock a bikini, I'm going to vomit. Because who benefits from that? Not you. So here's a practice. Each morning, ask yourself, what does success look like for me today? Sometimes the answer might be finishing a big project, and sometimes it might be taking a nap without guilt. Both are valid, and both are enough. When you write your own definition of success, and yes, it can change every single day, you stop measuring yourself against a yardstick that was never yours to begin with. All right, number 2 is to practice the 3-minute enoughness reset. Now, this one is powerful because it grounds you back into your body where intuition actually lives. So here's how this works. You can sit or stand comfortably. You can place one hand on your heart. I usually use my left, and the other on my belly or your belly. Breathe slowly in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe, repeat silently, "I am enough, right here, right now." Simply breathe and repeat this mantra for 3 minutes and notice the shift. Your nervous system actually starts to calm down, and your inner critic gets real quiet, and your intuition, that quiet voice underneath the noise, she gets a megaphone and she gets louder. This is a simple but powerful way, and a profound way, really, of reminding yourself that you don't need to earn enoughness. You embody it. And number 3, I'm going to invite you to use the "because I said so" authority. Remember you were little and your mom would say, you'd ask her, "Why do I have to do this?" And she'd say, "Because I said so." Well, now it's your turn to reclaim that line. Your inner authority does not need permission slips, research studies, or external validation. And if you don't want to attend that dinner, you don't need a 12-point exclamation and a PowerPoint presentation. No is simply enough. It is a complete sentence. Each time you honor your own no or your own yes, you're really reinforcing trust in yourself. And the more you trust yourself, the less you're willing to outsource your worth to other people's opinions. And here's the hard truth. No amount of dieting or hustling or people-pleasing will ever deliver that magical moment where you finally feel enough. Because the problem was never you. It's the conditioning you were handed. But here's the good news. You can shift this. You can begin feeling good enough exactly as you are, starting today. Here's the truth no one tells us. Confidence doesn't come from ticking off a bunch of boxes or some invisible checklist. It comes from learning to trust your own voice. I mean, think about it. How many times have you ignored your gut instinct because you were worried about what others might think or say? You stayed quiet in a meeting even though you know you had something really important to add. Or you agreed to help even though you were already stretched way too thin. Or you skipped the party, the date, or the opportunity because you didn't feel ready enough, thin enough, or good enough. Every one of these moments chips away at your sense of enoughness. And it's not because you weren't capable, but because you abandoned your own truth to meet somebody else's expectations. This is where intuition comes in. See, your intuition is like a quiet best friend who never lies to you. It doesn't care about diet culture, your job title, your bank account, or your dress size. It only cares about one thing: what's right for you. And when you practice listening, grounding, and centering, you reconnect with that inner voice. And the more you trust it, the less you feel the need to prove anything to anyone. Because here's the secret: when you trust your intuition, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop chasing external approval, and you start showing up as the woman you already are, enough and whole and powerful. This is why the Midlife Reinvention Blueprint Masterclass is happening on Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Inside, we'll go deeper into how to uncover the hidden forces that keep you doubting yourself, the simple framework to build confidence without conditions, and how to map your next chapter with clarity and self-trust. It's not about becoming somebody else. It's about remembering who you've been all along and giving yourself permission to live from that sacred place. So if you're ready to stop waiting until you feel good enough to finally go after what you want, this masterclass is for you. So register. I'll leave it in the show notes. You can just click and register right online and come join me on September 6th. I'll show you exactly how to unlock the clarity, the confidence, and the freedom you've been waiting for. So friends, here's what I want you to remember. The feeling of not enough isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that you've been living inside systems designed to keep you doubting yourself. Diet culture, good girl conditioning, perfectionism, cultural gaslighting, they all whisper the same lie. You'll be worthy when ... But here's the truth. You're already worthy right now. Your intuition knows it, and that's why it keeps tugging at you, even in those quiet moments, reminding you that the life you're waiting to feel ready for is already here. You don't need another crash diet. You don't need to add more to your plate. You don't need to fix yourself. What you need is to trust yourself. And when you do, life opens up. You feel grounded instead of scattered, centered instead of pulled in 10 different directions, and clear instead of constantly questioning. And that is what makes you unstoppable. If this resonates with you, I want to invite you to my free masterclass, The Midlife Revolution Blueprint. Build confidence without conditions and map your next chapter right now. It's all happening Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. Pacific, and it's designed especially for women like you, women who are ready to stop waiting until they're good enough and start living fully right now. In the class, I'm going to walk you through the 3 hidden forces that keep women doubting themselves, and I'll share the exact self-trust strategy to shift you out of not enough and into the confidence to reinvent your life on your own terms. So if you're tired of waiting, if you're ready to take that next step into your future, come join me. Your next chapter doesn't start someday. It starts the moment you decide to say enough already. I'm ready now. Thank you for spending time with me today. And remember, your worth is not up for debate. You're already enough. And I hope to see you inside the masterclass. Until next time, bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to How to Lose the Weight. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you found value in this episode, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It really helps the show reach more women like you who are ready to step into their power. For more insights and inspiration, follow me on Instagram at Holly Toscanini or visit hollytoscanini.com. Until next time, remember, stop waiting and start living.